What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Deus Ex. So, we've just escaped from VersaLife's Level 2 labs. We're back at the canals, and we need to get back to Tracer Tong so that we can, get ready to return to New York, because what we discovered at VersaLife was that Majestic 12 is manufacturing the virus Grey Death in addition to the cure Ambrosia. And they have a shipment of Grey Death heading to America on a super freighter. Tracer Tong identified the super freighter as a super freighter that used to belong to the Illuminati. And he knows this because the freighter belonged to a former Illuminati chairman by the name of Stanton Dowd, who is apparently, or coincidentally, in New York and also in Hell's Kitchen. So we're going to be going back to Hell's Kitchen again. So first we got to talk to Tracer Tong for an update on the situation. And then before we head out, we'll go ahead and we will replenish our bioenergy at the repair bot, as well as our health at the med bot if necessary. If I remember correctly, after getting out of VersaLife, I let the bioenergy drain to 0% because I had the regeneration aug active, healing damage. And I just let it stay active until I was, until my bioenergy was gone. So we gotta fully replenish that so that we're ready for continuing onward. We need to find Stanton Dowd for intel about the freighter, as well as, how Majestic 12 is probably smuggling the virus, since, we will hear before too long that Majestic 12 is, and I quote, hand-me-downs from the Illuminati. Anyways, we just recharged some of our bioenergy, but one thing important to note is that if you use a repair bot to replenish bioenergy, if your bioenergy is less than 25%, I think, it'll only replenish your bioenergy up to like 75% or something like that. So if you're down to like 25% or less, you have to use the repair bot twice. However, the repair bot needs to like recharge before you can do it again, and it takes a whole minute for it to do that. So basically I'm waiting. If Paul is still alive, he will now be in Hong Kong, and you can talk to him right here.
Looks like I'll be living in Hong Kong for a couple
months. If you might remember that I kind of broke the game to keep Paul alive while still being stealthy by very subtly blowing myself up with a GEP gun. But anyways, I guess part of the reason why I wanted Paul alive and why I did that is A, it kind of lets us bypass a chunk of the game, and B, we have to keep if Paul dies, it contradicts with the sequel Invisible War, where Paul is alive. Well, at that point during that game, he's in cryostasis by Saman and the Templars, but he's still alive though. Anyways, let's recharge again so that we're at 100%. And now Jock is going to be waiting for us in the courtyard, right on the outside area of the compound. He'll fly us into Hell's Kitchen, and then we'll do our stuff from there. The main objective is to locate Stanton Dowd. That UNATCO freelance guy named Harvey Philbman is actually going to tell us where he is. And there'll be some secondary objectives too. One,
So we have to dig up
or at least
stands down.
one, but I'm actually not going to do it.
I heard a few
But
things. I think Harley Philbin
anyways,
knows
let's
how
get
to
back
do
to
it.
Hell's Kitchen.
I always thought
Jock is going to drop us off on the roof of the Ton Hotel.
When we get to New York.
We can we're still able to re-enter Paul's place, and we can still open the secret door, and there will still be stuff in the secret room. And I'm pretty sure even if Paul is dead, there'll still be stuff there. Anyways, we're gonna have to sneak through the streets because there are police everywhere and we are hostile. Or they are hostile to us. First thing we need to do is get to Harvey Philbin at the Underworld Tavern. We'll obviously use... Oh, before you go in, get that steel crate in front of the ladder so that we can jump back up there more easily. Just watch out for cops. We want to avoid them. So let's get into the tavern. So Harvey Philbin is going to be sitting at a table to the right here. We'll go ahead and talk to him. He'll tell us that Dowd is at Osgood and Sons, which is the same store that had the pathway that took us to that factory where the NSF had that generator, which is literally what he says. However, Osgood and Sons is now like a derelict, like burnt down building. But Dowd is going to be there.
Same corporation that makes ambrosia also manufactures.
However,
quite convenient.
there's a few things we're going to do first. One, we need to talk to this military guy at the bar for the sake of the next part of the game at the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard. And then two, we need to go see Smuggler and buy some lambs.
I'll contact him. Go to the burn-up
It's absolutely important that we do this before seeing Dowd, because as soon as we're done talking to Dowd, the troopers are going to somehow become aware of our presence, and then they're going to and then their AI becomes kind of funky. They start to aggro even though they didn't actually detect you. Like there have been times where I had cloak activated and they still aggroed at me as if they can see me even though I'm literally invisible. Anyways, this guy over here, we want to talk to him.
I didn't know they were using
I think his name is Vinny or something.
likes to work. Just came out to look up a girl I
He's going to tell us about the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard, and then you're going to be given dialogue choices. You're going to want to choose the first dialogue option where you basically volunteer to investigate the shipyard for him, and then in exchange, he's going to tell his men who are guarding the front gate to give you the key to let you enter, and that's going to make getting in a lot easier.
Maybe I'll check it out for you.
So just choose the first dialogue choice so that this
I'll
happens.
say it straight. I'm a patriot. I don't like to see one of our top
In case you didn't hear Harvey Philbin, he gave us a secondary objective to kill a reporter that works for UNATCO named Joe Green. He's at the free clinic. We're not going to do that. What's interesting is that even if you knock him out, the objective will still be completed, but we're still not going to do it because there isn't really any true benefit to it, at least as far as I know. So now we're going to go see Smuggler. Now normally Dowd will tell you to go to Smuggler, and then you go visit him, after the troops and police start going into their crazy aggro mode. But we're going to go to Smuggler first so that we can escape as soon as possible. First we'll re-enter Paul's place. I think the only worthwhile things that are here are in the secret room. 4321 is the code. And then there should be a couple things in here. biocell right there, multi-tool right there, and I think that's pistol ammo. Yep. So now we'll sneak through the Ton Hotel. There are 2 cops in the lobby, so we're gonna have to carefully sneak around them. The elevator shaft is my preferred method of getting down there. Just be careful. I mean, if you're prone to seizures, then it might not be the best route for you, but ideally it is the best route. So here's those cops. Just carefully avoid them. And then one of them walks around, the other one doesn't really move, so you should be fine. And let's get out the front door. But first, let's rob the ATM, because free money is always good. I always drop a pencil when I record my audio. Anyways, out the front door. You want to be careful on the street here, not only because there's a bunch of cops around, but there's also a security bot. And this security bot we're going to want to very carefully avoid. In fact, it's honestly a good idea after you get out of Smuggler's place and before you talk to Dowd, it's honestly a good idea to create like a backup save, because if the timing is really inconvenient, that security bot could be in a bad position where we're not going to be able to really sneak back to the Ton Hotel without it seeing us. And we don't have the radar transparency AUG yet to hide from it. It's probably best to use the spy drone AUG and the EMP blast to just take the bot out. But I didn't want to, since I don't necessarily have to. Anyways, let's go down and see Smuggler. Unfortunately, he turned his laser grid back on since the last time we visited him. Go get the lockpick right there. So we have to turn it off again. Thankfully, there is a multi-tool here that will, that we could basically use as a free multi-tool to disable the fuse box. Onwards! So we'll go talk to Smuggler, and we're gonna go buy a bunch of lambs off of him. Because we're gonna need at least 5 lambs once we're on board the super freighter, because we have 5 breach points that we need to blow up. And we're going to use lambs and the stealth pistol so that we can kind of do silent explosions. If we had kept the GEP gun, there is also that, but NPCs will like completely freak out to rocket explosions from either a GEP gun or a rocket launcher or whatnot.
I'll take the 5 lambs for 3,500.
So go ahead and buy the lambs. He gives you 6, I think. So we should have at least like 8 by now, I think. Alright, next thing we want is upstairs. He has like a hidden stash behind a mirror. We need to use a couple multi-tool. There's a lockpick. We need to use a couple multi-tools to bypass his keypad right here. We want to get into the stash because he has a thermoptic camo in there. That way, when we're escaping to the roof of the Ton Hotel, we can use the thermoptic camo instead of our cloak to conserve some bioenergy. Because one thing that tends to happen when you're climbing to the roof of the Ton is the soldiers and cops tend to like shoot at you, sometimes even when you have the cloak active. But you'll notice in this particular recording that I put the thermoptic camo on and it actually managed to prevent that from happening. Yeah, this part of the game is just really funky. It's kind of a matter of luck and how the AI reacts. Thankfully, my recording of it went absolutely perfectly, So this exact playthrough of it you're seeing is how it should go ideally. Just very carefully peek up the stairs to watch for that cop and the security bot, of course. We need to get across the street and then go under the hole in the fence to get back to the alleyway here. We're gonna head over to Osgood and Sons to meet with Stanton Dowd. Just watch out for another cop that patrols right here. And then Joe Green is in the free clinic there if you want to go after him, but I don't want to, so yeah. Anyways, over here, you can go in here, and then nice little like 2x10 ramp gets you up here. Dowd is over in the corner, and another weird thing that tends to happen sometimes is that when you talk to Dowd, it's like the soldiers have like X-ray vision and can see through these cinder block walls, and then they'll come over here, basically stare you down, and then as soon as conversation ends, they will obliterate you with gunfire. One thing that I do that usually helps avoid this is I stand behind Dowd in the back corner, you know, next to the burning oil drum.
We never had troops like
and this usually prevents that weird AI reaction from happening.
I just don't know where the freighter would dock.
It's kind of like when we were at the Mole People settlement where I kind of jumped behind that guy into the corner to talk to him. That way the NSF troops down there didn't detect me.
That's why FEMA took it
Similar kind of situation.
They're probably storing the virus in the ship's
So we'll talk to Dowd.
The only way to
He'll
make sure.
he'll basically tell us how we scuttle the freighter.
The only way to make sure it's
And he'll also give us an image, which is a map of the super freighter with all the breach points on the hull marked to help us locate them once we're on board the ship.
I'd pick up some more while I have the chance.
And he also told us that he caught Grey Death, and he's going to ask us to, if we come across any ambrosia, if we could get him some. We will be doing that.
Don't worry.
There isn't really a true benefit to it, if I'm not mistaken, but we're just doing it because we can.
Reverse the bilge,
Anyways,
and the ship will split open like a banana.
so what's going to happen after we talk to Dowd? We're going to want to go back to the front door of the Ton Hotel. We need to go back to, and then from there we're going to go back to Paul's place, out the window to the fire escape, and then we're going to immediately put on that thermoptic camo as we climb to the roof. And if done correctly, well, I equipped it here, but this is not where we needed it. This is what I meant by how timing could be bad. That security bot could be coming towards us, and he could be in a very bad position where you couldn't possibly get into the Ton Hotel without the security bot detecting you. This is why a backup save is recommended, so that if you have to fix your timing with that security bot, you can before talking to Dowd. So let's sneak up the elevator shaft to the next floor, and then back to Paul's place. Damn rats. And then here's what you want to do. Go ahead and equip the thermoptic camo. Don't hit the use action, hit the equipped action. Go ahead and have it equipped so that you'll have it in hand once you're out the window. And then as soon as you load back into the streets, put it on, and then you should be invisible, and then you should be able to climb up without any issue. And that way you've also conserved bioenergy.
I'm ready.
Alright, Let's get Jock to fly us to the shipyard, and then we'll be ready for the next step. But we are not quite ready for the next step, because this is where I'm going to call it for this episode. The Brooklyn Naval Shipyard and the Super Freighter will both be next. Alrighty, I'll see you next time.